Today we're going to break down 3 content marketing mistakes you must avoid, specifically within the gaming and esports industry. And just to be clear, this applies whether you're running an esports org, a product or service brand in esports and gaming, or last but not least, if you're a solo creator trying to do your own thing, build your own personal brand, all this stuff applies. Now, the first mistake is a pretty tough pill to swallow, but it's understanding that consistency does not equal frequency. You don't need to post 6 times in one day to be successful with your content. Consistency matters a lot. You want to let your audience know when to expect your content. You don't want to leave them guessing and wondering, will the next podcast episode drop on Monday or will it drop in 3 months from now? You don't want to be in that situation, but just because you're consistent doesn't mean you have to be frequent with the content you post. It doesn't mean you have to post 7 times in one day on a single platform or across multiple platforms for that matter. And in fact, that pursuit of frequency and the feeling that you have to post every single day or you have to post X amount of times and setting a specific quota for content you put out, that can actually cause your content quality to suffer. And when your content quality suffers, your audience doesn't respond to it the same way, and you're gonna struggle to grow over time. For example, let's take the Optic podcast. They do this really well because they don't have to post 5 episodes per week. They only post 1 episode per week, but it's consistent. Their audience knows when to expect it. They know they're gonna get an Optic podcast episode every single week. So they don't have to post 5 times every single week. They don't have to post daily podcast episodes. And if they did, their creators would probably get burnt out. Instead, they put out 1 episode a week. It's super high quality, it's hilarious, it's entertaining, their audience enjoys it, and it works out well for everyone. Now, in my personal opinion, I do think frequency plays a role, especially as you're first getting started, because frequency gives you opportunities to experiment. It gives you opportunities to see what posts resonate, what thumbnails resonate, what titles resonate, what insert blank here resonates with your audience. And a perfect example of this is even this YouTube channel you're watching right now. It's still in its infancy, it's still very early on. And if I were to post only once a month or every other month or 2 times the entire year, even if I thought the videos were really good, it probably wouldn't grow that much. One, because there's not a lot of content, but also because there's not a lot of opportunities for me as a creator to experiment and see what does well. Again, what titles, what thumbnails, what editing style does well. Are there any points in these videos where retention drops off? That's something I definitely want to address in the future. And this applies on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, whatever platform you're on. If you're posting fairly often, you have opportunities to see what actually resonates with your audience. Whereas if you're not posting super often at all, you don't really have those opportunities. So especially as you're first getting started and you don't really understand content creation to its full extent yet, and you don't understand your audience to your full capacity yet, having that frequency and giving yourself opportunities to test is very important. But you also don't want to go so far that you get burnt out. And what I want to really highlight here in this part of the video is that you don't need to hit a certain number to be successful. My personal recommendation would be to push yourself as far as you can reasonably without getting burnt out, because when you push beyond that limit and end up burnt out, you're not creative, the process is not fun, you resent your own content. It's not a good place to be. I've been there plenty of times and I probably will be there again, just knowing myself. But if you can help it, try not to push so far that you end up burnt out. Try to push to that limit just beyond your comfort zone, so you're pushing yourself and you're pushing yourself to improve, but not so far that it comes back to bite you and actually hurts you in the long run. Now, the second content marketing mistake I see all the time is making selfish content. And this is specifically in the context of someone who wants to grow an audience, a business who wants to grow an audience to buy their product or service, or an esports org that just wants to grow their audience and again, attract sponsorship, stuff like that. If you're just creating just to create and you don't really have that necessity to monetize, then sure, do what you want to do. If you're okay with having your 50 subscribers and just vibing and doing your thing, all power to you. I'm actually very jealous of you. But if you're trying to grow an audience and you have metrics to hit and you have targets to hit in terms of revenue, in terms of impressions, in terms of engagement, you're kind of at the mercy of your audience, and you need to understand what your audience wants to see and understand what value you as a creator, you as a brand, you as an organization are providing to that audience. And most of the time with brands specifically, they're doing pretty well with this. Like if you're following SteelSeries, you're gonna see posts about their products and how their products can help you out as a creator or as someone who just needs headphones or whatever you're gonna buy from them. Another example we can look at is Drink Control. They're posting about their product. They're posting specifically about the value that their product brings to you as a gamer. You can eat healthier and nourish yourself better without having to sacrifice taste. They make that very clear in their social posts and their marketing strategy. They're not just focusing on them, they're focusing on you as the consumer and what value they bring to you. Oftentimes the demographic that has the hardest time with this is solo creators, because they're posting about themselves. They're posting themselves playing video games. They're posting themselves vlogging, doing things and saying, look at me, look how entertaining I am, look how funny I am, look how relatable I am. And you want to showcase yourself, that's great. It plays a role in your content strategy. Like if you're a Warzone creator, you want to showcase that you're good at Warzone. You want to showcase clips of you playing and highlight your ability as an esports athlete. But the area where you can really set yourself apart as a solo content creator, as an esports org, is kind of shifting away from just showcasing yourself, just showcasing how good you are at a certain game. You want to add another sort of value to your audience. Sure, watching you play in Warzone, watching you play in Overwatch or COD or League or Valorant, whatever the game may be, it's entertaining, and entertainment is only one piece of the puzzle. Other aspects you could explore are actually educating your audience. And this isn't a must, you don't have to do this, but an example of someone who does this really well is Attach. He's a pro Call of Duty player, he plays for the Minnesota Rocker, he has that going for him, but if you look at his YouTube channel, a lot of it is actually centered around tips and tricks and actually educating his audience about Call of Duty, what certain moves are, what certain strats are, best class setups. And because he's actually adding value beyond himself, he's focusing on his audience and helping his audience, his channel is growing. I believe he just hit 300K on YouTube and it's only going up from there. Another example of someone who does this really well is Salvation's Elite. He doesn't really focus on himself all that much in his content. Rather, he's focused on helping his audience. He's providing analysis of pro players to help his audience get better at Call of Duty. So his audience knows that, hey, if I want to get better at COD and kind of be more competitive, I'm going to go watch Salvation's Elite. Another example of this that isn't just educational, look at Tactical Rab. His audience isn't really watching him for him. Sure, he has a group of super fans that really just enjoy his personality and watch him no matter what, but a lot of his audience and a lot of new audience members go to him for news in the competitive Call of Duty scene. They want to keep up with everything that's going on, and that is the value that he provides to them. He's not just saying, look at me, look at my charismatic personality, look at my great public speaking ability. No, he's showcasing value to his audience and actually helping them solve a problem that they have, because they can't watch every single CDL match. They can't keep up with every single bit of CDL drama that occurs on the timeline. So his content fulfills that very specific need, and that's part of the reason why he's been growing and his channel has doubled in size over the past year, and he just hit 50K subscribers on YouTube. So there's a lot to be learned there. Another example of someone who adds value that is very clear to the audience would be someone like Harris Heller. He's a very prominent YouTuber and live streamer that makes content around streaming, how to grow as a streamer, what gear you should buy, best practices for streaming, all that sort of stuff. So his audience knows that he is the go-to guy. And sure, again, like Rab, they enjoy his personality. Like Salvation's Elite, they enjoy his personality, but they're not mainly there for him, at least at the beginning. Over time, they get to know the individual and like the individual and kind of support the individual no matter what the piece of content is. But at first, they're first drawn to the channel by the value that the content adds to them. It helps them become a better streamer. It helps them grow their platform. It solves a very specific problem that they have. So when you're thinking about creating content for your audience, think about what value you're adding. It's not just about showcasing you. Obviously that is important as an esports athlete, as an esports org, you want to showcase your talent, but also think about what value you're adding. Are you entertaining? Are you educating? Are you inspiring? Entertainment, education, inspiration. Those are three main categories that most of your content will fall under. And if you can think of it from that lens and look at it from that lens, you'll be able to much more effectively create content that actually adds value to your audience and avoid marketing mistake number 2. Now, before we get into marketing mistake number 3, which is a very big one, so I'd recommend sticking around to the end of this video, be sure you drop a like down below and hit that subscribe button for new videos every single week covering marketing and business in gaming and esports, whether you're a solo creator, esports org owner, marketing director, whatever the case may be. Would really appreciate you sticking around. Now, the third marketing mistake that you must avoid, and like I said, this is a really important one, it's that impressions does not equal success. Just because more people see your post doesn't mean that it was successful. In general, yeah, you want to increase visibility, you want to get retweets, you want to get likes, you want to get shares, you want more people to see your post, but at what cost? And what you need to remember and always keep in the back of your head is brand sentiment. How will people perceive the post that you put out? Sure, it might get shared, it might get retweeted 1,000+ times, but is that for the right reason? The example that we saw this past week was with Dignitas, and this isn't meant to rip on them. They've actually been better since the incident and I haven't really seen anything out of them lately, which is great. But I think it is important to highlight, there was an incident where they posted a meme with a dog in the fire. You know that meme, I'll toss it up on the screen right now. And they were poking fun at a situation where I think the Immortals facility caught on fire, there was a fire alarm or something like that. And sure, maybe it was funny to some people enjoyed it, but there was quite a bit of backlash. And ultimately they ended up deleting the tweet. So again, this isn't meant to rip on them, it's more so meant to impress upon you the importance of thinking about how your content can be perceived. Is it going to offend anyone? Is it going to be misinterpreted? And if it is that risk worth the potential reward? And that's the whole basis of risk management. You want to make sure that, sure, if there's a risk that this goes wrong, let's say you make a cocky post and your team ends up losing, what are the consequences of that worst case scenario? And if you're at peace with that, if you're at peace with the potential consequence of opposing fans coming at your org, or even your own fans turning against you for a bit because you jinxed them, then sure, go for it. And in the end, it probably won't affect you that much. But if you're considering making a post that could potentially offend thousands of people and beyond the scope of just in-game, it might not be worth it. And that's something only you can decide as a social media manager, as a content marketing specialist for your org or for your own personal brand. But as long as you're taking the steps to really look at, okay, sure, this post would be a banger, it might get retweets, it might get likes, but what are the second order consequences of this post? Could anything go really bad to the point that it kind of defeats the purpose of the impressions in the first place? If that's the case, you might want to reconsider. And a really simple way to go about this and just really avoid these sort of dilemmas is to have an approval process. Send the post into a Discord with your other staff members, or if you're a solo social media manager, you're a solo creator, have a group of 2, 3, 4 people that you bounce ideas off of just to get their feedback, because if there's something that's out of pocket, they'll probably let you know. And I got this idea from Zach from Sentinels, and on our podcast interview, he said that this has saved him plenty of mistakes on social and has really kept him able to make sure that the content he's putting out is not going to be misinterpreted, not going to actually come back to bite him. So consider having that approval process. It'll save you a bunch of headaches in the future. All right, now that you understand 3 mistakes to avoid, what should you actually do to grow your social media presence in 2021 in the gaming and esports industry? And you're in luck. I have a video on that exact topic here on the channel, so I'll toss that up on the screen right now. Make sure you go check that out. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate you dropping a like down below, hitting that subscribe button, and I will go ahead and see you in that next video.